Yung Bufo marinus falls under the class of amphibia or the amphibians. Sa number 5, sa Cosimbotus, this falls under the class of reptilia. Number 6, the parrot, it falls under the class of aves or yung mga birds, sabi ko nga kanina. Since number 7 naman sa Felis domestica, this falls under the class of mammalia. So now I will proceed to answer the questions given. So number 1, explain why the chordates are considered the highest and the most advanced group of animals. So chordates are considered to be the most advanced group because of the mere fact that almost all chordates are vertebrates. This means that chordates have a vertebral column and internal skeletons. Also, the all-over biological structures of this vertebrate are well developed and top in class in terms of procedures, biological activities, and have more complex and specialized organ systems when compared to invertebrates. So yung mga vertebrae, alam naman natin pero I would like to discuss again yung vertebrae natin, ito yung nag-protect and nag-support sa bodily movements natin, yung sa daily movements, which is kaya nagiging medyo superior siya compared sa iba kasi may vertebrae siya kaya mas nakakagalaw yung mga species na nagfo-fall under sa chordates. So sa question number 2, which of the lower animals are believed to be more closely related to chordates? Our answer for this is echinoderms because echinoderms and chordates share a common ancestors. So usually pag yung mga may nag-share ng common ancestors, may biological similarities talaga yung dalawang species or yung mga phylums ganyan. So yung sa number 3 naman, how do the vertebrates differ from other chordates? The main difference between chordates and vertebrates is that some chordates do not have a vertebral column, whereas all vertebrates have a vertebral column. So yung difference nitong vertebrates and yung chordates is yung presence of vertebral column kasi yung hindi lahat ng chordates may vertebral column pero yung mga vertebrates lahat sila may vertebral column. Next question po. I mean, next slide pala. So, why is the frog considered a typical vertebrate? A vertebrate is an animal with a spine or a backbone. Compared with all the other vertebrates, frog are the only ones that have this combination of features, a wide head and a large mouth. So, nagiging typical siya or ito yung general example ng vertebrate because yung itong dalawang characteristic, yung a wide head and a large mouth, di lahat ng vertebrate meron ng combination na ito. Pero yung frog, both na characteristic ito, pinopossess niya. So number 5, name the other classes of vertebrates, characterize and give examples of each class. So for the mammals or the mammalias, mammals have warm blood and usually have hair or fur on their bodies. So one example of mammals is a cat. So sa bird naman or sa aves, birds are warm-blooded and have beaks, feathers, wings, and two legs. An example naman ng bird is yung owl. So number 3, fish. Fishes live and lay their eggs in water. So example nito is yung goldfish. Sa reptiles naman, reptiles live in water and on land. Example ng reptile is lizard. For the last class, which is the amphibians, amphibians live on land and in water. However, they lay their eggs in water. They are cold-blooded and have smooth skin. The examples of amphibians include frogs, toads, and salamanders. Yun na, in my examples niya. So, next reporter, please. That would be all na po pala, mama. Thank you for listening to Group 10. Group 10. I mean, Activity 10, Group 1.
Okay, thank you very much. Group presenters who discussed to us the post-lab discussion on activity number 10. So, first thing, no, I would like to say, very good for your presentation. Ang ganda ng presentation ninyo. If I will be comparing it with my other class who also did the post-lab on this activity, much better talaga yung ginawa ninyo. And also with the background, no? Simple lang siya, pero ano talaga, connected with your presentation. Okay, very good for that. Yeah, you also discussed the different phylum under the kingdom Animalia very well. No, you discussed their characteristics. You discussed what are the classes under yung mga species given under each of the phylum. So very good. Okay, very good. Congratulations. So proceed na tayo para matapos tayo ng maaga. Proceed with the next activity number 11.
Yes po, ma'am.
Okay, sige. Sunod-sunod lang ha after activity 11, then 12 hanggang ano tayo with the activity 13. Okay, you're welcome.
Visible na po yung screen.
Yes po.
Thank you po. So, good morning everyone. My name is Hosima Muhammad, and together with me in this report are my group mates, Miss Sharijan Maikilara, Miss Lamia Manangkil, Miss Iman Marcelo, and I would also like to acknowledge Miss Micaela Madrasa for making our PowerPoint, our presentation. So, today we are going to be talking about the external structures of or the anatomy of the toad or the Buffa marinus, which is the activity number 11. And we are going to be looking at it primarily because of its close resemblance sa human body. And in this report, we are going to be looking at the external features, the buccal cavity, and the body cavity of the toad. So now we are going to start with the first part of the activity, which is the labeling of the external features of the toad. So I'm sorry, nawala, yung nata siya picture is wala yung number. So I'm just going to be pointing at it. So for number 1 here, we have the hind limb. And the hind limbs, they are longer and stronger, and are they are of the forelimbs. And each hind limb is made up of a proximal segment, which consists of a single bone called the thigh or femur. So it is followed by the shank or the crus, or which is the lower leg. Then for number 2, here we have the trunk, and the trunk is short and is flattened from top to bottom. And there is nothing to distinguish between the head and the trunk. So parang ano lang siya, parang iisa lang siya. Then there are numerous rough warts that covers the dorsal part of the surface or yung backside, which indicates the location of the poison glands. And yung ventral side naman niya is smooth and there are no warts. Then here, number 3, we have the forelimb. So the forelimbs, compared to the hind limb, much shorter sila and segmented and are movable by joints. So ginagamit sila to raise or support the body when the frog is at rest. And then here, number 4, we have the brow spot. So yung brow spot, uh, it is a rounded organ that is located between the frog's eyes, and it indicates a reduced third eye, or sinasabi na third eye daw sila from this organism's ancestors. And it is sensitive to longer wavelength light, which causes color changes in the skin of the frog or the toad. So nagiging parang chameleon yung frog when they detect changes sa light, sa temperature, humidity, and such. And being that sensitive yung brow spot sa light, the frog might feel afraid or excited. So it aids the frog in changing its color. Then number 5 here, we have the external nares. So the external nares, ito yung nostrils or that lead into the nasal passages and act as an air inlet or outlet. So it lets air in and out of the toad, and it leads directly to the mouth and gives the frog their excellent sense of smell. Then here we have the eye. So the eye of a frog, it comes in a wide variety of colors and patterns. So most frogs, they can only see far away, but they have excellent night vision, and they are extremely sensitive to movement. So most frogs, they have bulging eyes that allow them to see in front, to the sides, and partially behind them. So bale, parang 360 yung vision or yung eyesight ng frogs. So number 7, we have the nictitating membrane. So number 7, Here it is. So, yung nictitating membrane, it is a transparent third eyelid that is attached to the lower eyelid and can be stretched up to cover the eyeball. So, yung purpose niya is to shield the eyeball from dust and inaalaw rin niya yung toads or frogs to see underwater and it also moistens the eye when the toads or frogs are in land. And then number 8, here also we have the tympanic membrane. So the tympanic membrane, it is a membrane behind each of the frog's eyes that serves as an eardrum. So yung frogs, dinidetect nila yung vibrations through this structure or this organ to hear sounds or para makarinig sila. So it is also responsible for transmitting sound waves to the inner ear to protect it from water and other objects. And number 9, we have the digits. So the digits, ito yung parang fingers ng frogs. So sa hind limbs, it has 5 digits and sa forelimbs, it has 4 digits. So yung web digits, they are the ones that help the frog in swimming. And then number 10, we have the manus, which is the palm or the or yung parang hand ng frog. So it provides the body support while sitting or walking and or absorbing. And then we have here the antebrachium, which is the forearm, and ito yung brachium, which is the upper arm. Then we have here the dorsolateral dermal plica, which is the ridges or yung raised surface sa skin ng frog na nagpo-form as a result ng skin thickening. Then we have the thigh, which is the upper leg, and we have here the anus. So ito yung opening ng rectum called cloaca, where the products of a frog's digestive and urogenital system or yung urinary and genital organs is passed. So hindi exactly anus yung meron sa frogs and toads. Bale, what they have is called a cloaca in which hindi lang waste products yung nagpapass but it also lets sperm or eggs pass through. So we have here the crus, number 16, which we also call the shank or the lower leg. So ito yung section of the hind leg that is between the knee and the foot and is more distal or is placed further from the center of the main body. Thus, ito yung nag-aid sa movement. Then we have the press, number 17, which is the instep or yung raised part sa top ng foot. And then lastly, we have the toes for number 18. So that's all for the table number 1. Let us proceed to table number 2 to be reported by Miss Marcelo.
So, good morning, everyone. I will discuss the table number 2 for the buccal cavity. The number 1 is the tongue.
Okay, Marcelo,
Yes, ma'am.
before you proceed with this table, can you please tell the class first what is buccal cavity para they will understand? Saan ba ito sa toad? What is the buccal cavity?
Okay, ma'am. So, the buccal cavity is a large and wide, shallow part of the frog. It is found at the part which is it is the mouth of the inside the mouth of the frog.
Okay, it is the mouth or the opening of the digestive system or digestive tract of the frog or the Bufo marinus. Okay, don't forget, when we say buccal cavity, it is the opening of the digestive system or the mouth entering, no, the entrance portion for the digestive. Dito pumapasok yung food nila, ganun. Okay, so this picture here, kasi nakabukas to siya, parang nakabukas na bibig. That's why ganito siya yung itsura niya, no? Na parang rounded form siya, oval form. But this is actually the mouth or the opening of the frog's digestive system. Okay, para hindi lang sila malito. Okay, you may now proceed with the different numbered structures, Iman.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you po. The number 1 is the tongue. Next is the perilingual tubercles. lower jaw without teeth, the floor of buccal cavity, the opening of vocal sac, and the angle of jaws opening. The gullet. The gullet is a wide one which is for adaptation. This allows the frogs to be able to feed large prey without problem. Then next is the roof of the buccal cavity, the vomerine teeth, which is the purpose of the vomeral teeth is it is on their upper jaw. It is used for their chewing. It is to assist them on capturing the prey with their projectile tongues. Next is the upper jaw, the lateral subrostral fossa, median subrostral fossa, the premaxillary teeth, which which is for necessary for the process of mastication or chewing. The internal nares or nares, the maxillary teeth, the indulging of eyeball, eustachian aperture, the glottis, and the pharynx.
So for the first process question, the question is, what is the advantage of the attachment of the tongue of the toad, compare it with that in humans? So yung tongue ng frog or toad, naka-attach siya sa front ng mouth, and yung length niya is about the third of the body, and it can even reach up to 12 inches in adult frogs or toads. So yung feature na to, it allows almost all of the frog's tongue to go out of their mouth in a very fast manner, or para makuha or makapture nila yung prey nila, like for example mga insects, ganyan. Tapos ipu-pull back nila sa bibig nila yung or sa mouth nila yung tongue, and para ma-consume nila yung prey or yung insect per se. So that process, it is usually called the lingual flip, and it occurs ng sobrang bilis. It could probably be seconds. So it can move, the tongue's frog can move in a much faster manner than a human can. So yung tongue kasi ng humans, it moves, uh, I mean, it is attached to the back of our mouths instead of the front, tulad ng frogs. And usually, ginagamit natin yung tongue natin. It helps in our speech, in eating, and such. Unlike the frogs, which is pwede nilang i-propel outside of their mouths yung tongue nila. Then, next question.
Okay. Before we proceed with number 2, go back to number 1 muna, Muhammad.
Yes,
Okay, what do you think will happen? Kasi ang question dito, no, what is the advantage of the attachment of the tongue of the toad compared with that of the humans? So, you already explained kung ano yung advantage and how does it, no, kung ano yung, paano yung, what's this, anatomy, parang ganun, or, yeah, anatomy, or how does it attach yung tongue sa toad. What do you think will happen if the tongue of the toad is not attached like that? Parang naka-attach siya like humans.
I think, ma'am, mahihirapan po
Okay, nawala si Miss Muhammad.
sila usually they use that tongue to, yes po.
Okay, sige, I can hear you now.
Okay po, sorry po. So usually po, ma'am, kasi yung frogs po kasi, if they don't have this feature in their tongues, hindi po sila feed ng mabuti, or hindi po nila makaka-capture yung prey nila.
Yes, no? So they cannot capture, they cannot get their prey, no? Usually mga insects, if ang tongue nila is naka-attach just like the way our tongues are attached. No? So dapat ganun yung attachment so para maabot nila. Usually yung kinakain nila is yung mga lumilipad, di ba? Ano ba ang mga usual na kinakain nila? Insects that are flying. So kung ang tongue attachment nila is like ours, they cannot catch their prey. So they cannot eat, no? That's why the attachment of their tongue is like that. So you can really say by by this lesson or by this idea, you can really say that everything happens for a reason. No, the attachment of the frog was made like that by the creator because there is a reason so that they can eat, so that they can catch their prey. Because imagine if the attachment of their tongue is like ours, they cannot catch their prey, they cannot eat, and they don't have naman the ability to eat using spoon and fork like us, no? So kahit na ganito yung attachment tang natin sa, but we usually use this tongue, no, aside from eating, no, to swallow our food, it's also for our communication, no? So that's why. Okay, sige, please continue.
Explain why the vocal sac is only found in the male. Most male frogs and toads have a flexible membrane of skin called the vocal sac. The vocal sac usually serves as an amplifier for animals' mating call. In the species of frogs, the existence of the vocal sac can be used to externally determine their gender of the frog or the toad.
Okay, with that one, with the question number 2, no? So, come again, bakit ulit lalaki lang ang may vocal sac? It is for their
Mating call, ma'am.
okay, mating call so that they can no, they can call mga the quiet, quiet, so that they can call the female, no? Okay, so additional trivia, do you know? Quiet. Did you know na may mga species of frog?
Ma'am?
Sorry for that. Wait lang ha.
Okay, going back, did you know na may mga species ng frogs, especially, we are talking about the male frogs who has the vocal sac, no? So, may mga species that can only, yung kanilang sound or na produce because of this vocal sac can only reach up to meters lang. So, meters lang, like ganun lang ang layo. But there are also some species of frog wherein their sound or their vocal sac can reach kahit na kilometers, no? Kahit na napakalayo na, we can still hear. So when do we usually hear the sound of the frog ba? When do they usually do this? At what weather? Di
Rainy
ba?
weather.
Kapag rainy season, no? Kapag maulan, doon natin naririnig itong vocal sac or sound of the frog. So therefore, if the vocal sac is used by the female toads to attract their mates, no, to call their mates, and then they are doing it during rainy season. Therefore, what does it mean? Ay, hindi nila na-gets.
Jugjugan na, ma'am.
Okay. It was actually a joke, no? So it means parang grabe lang ang term ni Paul. So it only means that frogs were somewhat like humans din, no? So humans also do the mating usually, no? Kapag
Check na, ma'am,
kapag rainy
jugjugan.
season. Okay na, sige na Paul. Kung if that's really the term that you really want to use. Okay, no? So
Joke na.
yun. Okay, it's okay. Sige. Okay, no? So remember the vocal sac, okay? Na all si Kirk. Okay, so remember that the vocal sac is only found sa mga males na toads, okay, wala ito sa female, and they are using it for calling their mates, no, for the reproduction or no, para to multiply their numbers. And then itong vocal sac, ito yung kapag I don't know if you already have you already seen a frog doing the vocal sac? Ito yung parang lumalaki yung sa baba niya dito, yung sa may ilalim ng yes dito, no? Okay, wait. Yun dito parang nagkakaroon ng bulging, no? So that is actually the vocal sound producing the way that the male frogs are producing the sound. Okay, yung dito pag-bulge, yung parang nagkakaroon ng balon dito sa ilalim ng mouth nila and then lumiliit, lumalaki, ganun. Okay, sige, proceed tayo with next number. Okay, who's in charge with question number 3?
Si Miss Lamia po.
Okay.
Good day, everyone. Now, proceeding to practice question number 4. The question is, in what ways is our mouth cavity more advanced than that of a toad? The answer is, the human mouth cavity is more advanced than that of a frog or a toad because the mouth and its structure are essential information of speech in humans. Teeth, along with the lips and tongue, aid in the formation of words by controlling airflow out of mouth as some sounds are produced. The tongue strike the teeth out or the roof of the mouth. Additionally, frogs like humans have teeth and a tongue, but their teeth are weak and serve to hold prey rather than to chew it. So basically, the point of this answer is that it emphasizes how humans' mouth is used for speech. So in that way, mas advance yung mouth cavity natin because yung mouth natin ang nagpo-produce ng speech ng words, and it also helps us in breathing. Unlike sa mouth cavity ng mga frog or toad, they don't produce a speech, or rather they produce a sound. And their teeth are not like humans na ginagamit for chewing, but rather their teeth are there just to hold their prey. Next question, please. Thank you so much. Number 5, what is the function of the coelomic fluid? Yung coelomic fluid natin, the coelomic fluid serves as a separator between the organs from the rest of the body. Hence, it acts as a protector. It's as a protector. It protects the organs from mechanical shock or trauma. Because the organs are not disturbed by minor displacement as the body bends or stretches. The disconnect, which is the coelomic fluid, gives our body a better ranges or greater ranges of movement and flexibility. It also has a role similar to that similar to that of circulatory system, as it allows travels or passes of gases, nutrients, and waste product between different parts of the body. And because of the facilitated transport of materials, the emergence of the xylem in organisms has allowed for the evolution of larger body sizes. Next, please. And the last process question is question number 6. And the question is, compare the body cavity of the toad with that of a man. Humans and amphibians share various similarities. First off, both use two lungs for breathing, and they also have similar digestive systems in which they both possesses mouth, esophagus, stomach, pancreas, liver, gallbladder, and such. For the circulatory system, both have arteries, capillaries, veins, blood, and heart. And although both frogs and humans have brains, human brains are much more complex. As for the skeleton system, no, the skeleton, both species have one that provides the framework of their bodies. It gives protection to their internal organs and allow movements. Moreover, both have tissues, which are the muscles and connective tissues that hold the skeletons together. However, they although they have various similarities, they also have differences, and it starts with their organs and systems. Frogs and humans are the heart, the lungs, and the digestive systems of a frog are all housed in a single hollowed place. Well, the internal organs of humans are divided into three parts, and these three cavities rather, and these three cavities are the chest, abdomen, and pelvis. Moreover, frogs breathe through their skin in the process called cutaneous respiration, and they also don't have ribs nor diaphragms, and they don't use their chest muscles to breathe, which are what aids humans in breathing. So, yung sa frog, hindi nila ginagamit yung chest nila, no, for breathing. However, sa atin, essential siya para mas maging maayos yung process of breathing natin. Furthermore, humans and frogs both produces eggs, but frog eggs are fertilized externally. However, human eggs, no, yung human eggs natin is fertilizes internally. Yes, both have internal reproductive organs. And for the skeletal system naman, Frogs possesses one forearm and one lower leg bone, while humans have two. And moreover, they have structures in their skeleton like the urostyle that humans don't have. In comparison to a human's four-chambered heart, a frog's heart has three chambers only, and these are the two upper chambers, which are called atria, and one lower chamber. That will be all for our Activity 11 laboratory discussions. Thank you so much for listening.
Okay, thank you very much, group number 3, for discussing to us activity number 11. Once again, these are activity number 11 is all about the external features of the frog, no? So mentioned kanina ano yung mga external features or external structures, and then the buccal cavity and the body cavity of the frog. Also, they were also able to discuss the difference, no, between frogs and humans. So when it comes to the tongue attachment and the others. So, please bear in mind kung napapansin niyo bakit laging frogs ang ginagamit ng na sa mga activities, no? Because frog and human beings, no, ang internal, no, organs natin, internal system natin, and the outward appearance looks, no, may similarity. Does not look the same naman physically, but may similarity, especially with the internal system. So since we cannot observe human being talaga, no? If we want to serve the different systems of the body of the human being, of course, you cannot use human being talaga, as in you will open the body of the human being. So scientists, no, science people, science-related people are using the frogs usually, frogs or rats, no, to observe the internal organs, especially if they want to do some tests. But for our class, that's why we were not able to do some dissections, or hindi tayo nakapag-meet to do mga dissections to ganun, to observe the different systems of the body, even though our subject is general zoology, no, because it is not allowed anymore, especially during our time ngayon. So there are some ethical issues, may mga laws na ngayon that we cannot use na different animals, no, kahit na butiki kapag gagamitin sa school ganun to do an experiment or a study, hindi na pwede. So that's why we were all told, no, to base na lang sa videos. So provide na lang kayo ng videos for your students. Get videos, reliable videos from the internet, okay, and then just send it to your students. Ganun lang ang patakaran natin ngayon, ang galawan natin ngayon. Okay, once again, very good, Group 3, for the job well done. You explained the post-lab activity and activity number 11 very well. Congratulations. Now, let's proceed to our next group for the activity number 11, post-lab discussion.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Is the screen visible na po?
Yes po.
Yes.
Good morning, ma'am. Today we'll be discussing the integumentary system. The integumentary system is the largest organ of the body that forms a physical barrier between the external environment and the internal environment. that serves to protect and maintain the integumentary system includes the epidermis, dermis, hypodermis, associated glands, hair, and nails. Next slide po. Our objectives is to identify components, organs that makes up the integumentary system. Describe the functions of the member organ of the integumentary system. Differentiate the integumentary system of the frog from the man. Next slide po. Integumentary system. The integumentary system is the organ system that primarily provides body covering and protection. The outermost part of the body is the integument or skin. It consists of principal layers, the epidermis and dermis. Next slide po. Layers of the skin: epidermis, dermis, hypodermis. The epidermis is the outermost layer of our skin on your body. dermis, a connective tissue layer sandwiched between the epidermis and subcutaneous tissue. And lastly, hypodermis, the bottom layer of skin in your body. Next slide po. Procedure. Feel and examine clearly your skin. Take note of the skin derivative that are found external to the skin. Second, now feel and closely examine the skin on your toe. Did you observe any difference? We will answer this later. Look at the dorsal side of the toad. It is doubly pigmented and slightly thicker at the side in. In contrast, it is slightly pigmented and thinner at the ventral side. What possible benefits will the difference in pigmentation serve the toad? Question 2. We will answer this also later. Next slide po. Yun. Question number 1. Now feel and close examine the skin of your toad. Did you observe any difference? The skin of frog and toads hangs loosely from the body and can have a smooth, warty, and crumpled texture. The skin of frog and toads lacks scale for or feathers. Instead, they have a layer of skin that is moist and permeable and is covered in mucous glands. Next slide po. Done. Ikaw na.
So proceeding to question number 2, what possible benefit will the difference in pigmentation serve the toad? So the coloring may serve as a warning to predators that the frog or toad is venomous if the bright colors alternate with dark blotches. Although certain frogs and toads are not venomous, the predators mistake them for the poisonous species because of their colorful skin. As a result, predators frequently stay away from these species. So the skin in amphibians is important to their survival. And aside from that, the difference in pigmentation of or color of frogs or toads are also a reaction to temperature. They also adjust their color according to the changes in light, moisture, chemicals, and temperature. So here's a photo of a frog skin and difference of frog skin and human skin. So proceeding to the next question. Number 1, why is the skin of the frog suitable as a minor respiratory organ? So the skin of the frog is suitable as a minor respiratory organ. It is because of the thin membranous skin. Respiratory gases can easily flow directly down gradients between blood vessels and the surrounding environment. So when the frog is not in the water, mucus glands in its skin keep it moist, in which it aids in the absorption of dissolved oxygen from the air. Okay. So number 2, explain how some pigments of the skin of some animals protect from predators. The difference in pigmentation between the dorsal and ventral sides of the frogs is used for thermoregulation and as a protection against predators. Their darker pigmentation in the dorsal side is used for camouflage, and if the bright colors alternate with dark splotches, the coloring could alter predators that the frog or toad is poisonous. Other frogs and toads are not poisonous, but they can have a colorful skin. Predators associate with poisonous frogs and toads. As a result, predators will frequently avoid this species. Okay, so lastly, the last question. What are the functions of nerve, muscle, and connective tissues in human skin? So connective tissues, as its name implies, binds the cell and organs of the body together. And connective tissues are tissues that support, protect, and give structure to other tissues and organs in the body. Aside from that, connective tissue also stores fat. It also helps move nutrients and other substances between tissues and organs and help repair damaged tissue. Connective tissue is made up of cells, fibers, and a gel-like substance. So the muscle tissue contracts forcefully when excited, providing movement. So for example, arrector pili muscle. The arrector pili muscle, it is a tiny muscle that attaches to the base of a hair follicle at one end to the dermal tissue on the other end. It is used in order to generate, or the function of it is to generate heat when the body is cold. So the arrector pili muscles contract all at once, causing the hair in our skin to stand up straight. And next, the function of nervous tissues is also excitable, allowing for the generation and propagation of electrochemical signals in the form of nerve impulses that communicate between different regions of the body. So, nerves in the skin, or the sensory nerves in our skin, it serves to sense and transmit heat, pain, and other noxious sensations. So, when these nerves are not functioning properly, they can produce sensations such as numbness, pins and needles, pain, tingling, or burning. So, that is all for the activity number 12.
Excuse me, ma'am. Done na po.
Walang vlog. Ano ba?
Okay, sorry. Okay, so that's activity number 12. So, come again, ano ulit yun? Can you give us a conclusion on the integumentary system? Short conclusion, please, on what the activity is all about.
Excuse me, what was it again po? Na-disconnect po ako.
Yes?
Okay na po, ma'am. Na-disconnect kasi ako sa Meet.
Okay, yes, I can hear you now.
Ano po yun, ma'am? Na-disconnect po ako for a while.
Okay. Can you please give to us once again a short conclusion about the activity? What is the activity all about? Short conclusion.
For a while po, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. So a conclusion from the activity is that frog skin and human skin, the activity tackles about the frog skin and human skin. So it differs from each other due to several facts. So in frog skin, it is thin, slippery, and moist, while human skin is smooth, oily, and not moist. So frog skin can breathe, absorb water, and secrete poisonous mucus. Meanwhile, in the human skin, on the other hand, it cannot breathe, absorb water, and secrete poisons. So overall, the activity only discussed the difference of frog skin and human skin and its functions.
Okay, no? So, comparable between frog and human skin, the integumentary system. But when we say integumentary system, just remember that it's not just about the skin. When we say integumentary system, it also includes the nails and the hairs. But of course, wala namang ganun yung frog. So that's why, ang kinompare lang, I only ask you to compare the skin, no? Skin of human being and skin of frogs. So why is it again darker ang dorsal part ng frogs? What does it have? Why is it darker and more pigmented? What's the function? For what? Bakit darker yung kanyang other side and while the other side is lighter?
Yung darker side po is used for camouflaging. Meanwhile, yung bright colors is to atawag dito, to let other predators know or make them think that they are poisonous.
Okay, no? So the darker sides, so means the darker the color means highly pigmented. Okay, so mas mataas yung pigment, mas maraming pigments meron doon. That's why it's darker, and it is for camouflage or for protection against the possible predators. Okay, so also the reporters, the presenters also discuss the difference between the human skin, no? So outward, outward appearance. So soft ang skin natin, and then we have pores, and then meron din tayo mga hairs. So while frogs, iba naman yung characteristics nila. But of course, it is moist, no? But of course, there's still similarities. That's why these two were compared. Okay, thank you very much, reporters, presenters, for presenting to us the activity number 12. Okay,
Thank
any
you, ma'am.
question for activity number 12?